Wind up, Jason! Your work isn't finished!
This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
Let's dance, asshole!
So today we're going to be talking about another cartoon from Nickelodeon that I had the opportunity to watch as a little kid. And I gotta say, when it comes to cartoons that I grew up with as a child, I don't recall there being a lot of people talking about this cartoon. I could be wrong, but based on the topic of conversation, when it comes to a lot of those cartoons that people watched around the early 2000s, usually you have people bringing up SpongeBob, the Rugrats, Danny Phantom, or Jimmy Neutron. Shows like that are normally talked about for the most part. I don't really see other people talking about those underrated shows that came out around that era, and I definitely want to take some time today to talk about this show in particular because around its time it was definitely a show that was very unique, that set itself apart from other cartoons that premiered on Nickelodeon. And the cartoon that I am referring to today is the Wild Thornberrys. Never in my life did I ever imagine I was going to make a video on the Wild Thornberrys because yes, it is a cartoon that I spent quite some time with growing up as a kid, but I never imagined I would make a video on it. Not saying that like it's a bad thing, I just never really pictured myself in this situation just making a video talking about the Wild Thornberrys, but here we are today. And pretty much what I'm going to be doing in this video, just like how I do with the rest of my videos when it comes to all of the different kinds of cartoons that I covered on the channel already, I'm basically just going to be giving you guys my overall thoughts on the Wild Thornberrys, so it should be a fun video. I always enjoy talking about all these different kinds of cartoons that I grew up with. So before we jump into the video, like I say every single time before we begin our fun conversation, if you guys have any thoughts yourself when it comes to the Wild Thornberrys that you guys want to share with me, or if you guys have anything in particular that you guys want to let me know about, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. So the first thing I do want to talk about, like I was alluding to in the beginning of this video, is the unique premise that comes along with the Wild Thornberrys, because like I spoke before, I never really saw any other cartoon around this time have the exact same premise like the Wild Thornberrys had, and I'm going to be giving you guys my insight on that right now so I can elaborate a little bit when it comes to what I'm talking about. Because the Wild Thornberrys captivated audiences with its unique premise of a globe-trotting family filming wildlife documentaries. The Thornberrys' travels in their customized RV, the Comvy, equipped with advanced gadgets, provided endless opportunities for thrilling adventures. Each episode delivered engaging and often heartwarming storylines, whether it was Eliza navigating treacherous jungles to save Darwin, or the family overcoming obstacles together. The combination of an original concept with exciting plots kept viewers hooked from start to finish, blending adventure, suspense, and emotional moments seamlessly. That was just one of the cool things about the Wild Thornberrys, is that each episode that you were watching from this series, you were always going on an adventure. It's almost like you were put into a different world, and whatever world that you're put in, you're exploring that world with everything around it. And I found that very cool when it came to watching the Wild Thornberrys as a kid, because I always loved exploring as a kid. I always loved going outside to see what was there, and when I was watching the Wild Thornberrys, it definitely took me down that direction when it came to the whole exploration part of the show. And another thing I really like about the Wild Thornberrys is the diverse locations that we've seen throughout the franchise as well, because like I mentioned before, you know, this was a show that went everywhere when it came to different places that the family wanted to visit, and they literally went everywhere within this show. Like, there's not one place that you can't think of on the top of your head that the Wild Thornberrys hasn't visited, because the show took viewers on a virtual tour of the world, showcasing exotic locations like the Amazon rainforest, African savannas, the Australian outback, and Arctic tundra. And through these diverse settings, the Wild Thornberrys introduce its audience to the planet's incredible biodiversity in different cultures, such as the Maasai in Kenya or Aboriginal Australians, and the respectful and accurate portrayal of these cultures promoted diversity and cultural understanding, offering young viewers a broader perspective on the world and its inhabitants. Now it's very cool because as a kid, you know, one of the things that I love the most, I always loved learning about the world. I always loved knowing about different countries to see how things worked over there and just getting all of that information on all of that stuff that you wanted to know. And I'm glad that the Wild Thornberrys gave me that opportunity to teach me everything that happened around the world. And when it comes to a lot of these shows that we watch as well, what is one of the things that normally stands out? Like, besides the story and the overall premise of the show, like, what really stands out when we're watching these cartoons? The memorable characters, because there's a lot of characters within the Wild Thornberrys that definitely stand out. And there's also a particular character called Nigel, which I'm just going to mention right here before we begin our discussion, which is a huge meme till this day. Like, I kid you not, I see Nigel everywhere. If his faces is on like other people's bodies or whatever the case may be, this guy's a huge meme. But getting back to what I was just saying, you know, there's a lot of memorable characters within the series as well that stands out. And you also have to take some time to appreciate our protagonist as well, Eliza, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be going on all these different kinds of adventures throughout the Wild Thornberrys. Because at the heart of the show, Eliza Thornberry was an empowering female protagonist with the unique ability to communicate with animals, and her bravery, empathy, and determination made her a role model for young viewers. Alongside Eliza were memorable characters like Donnie, the wild child raised by orangutans, and Darwin, the talking chimpanzee, who added charm and humor to the show. And each character brought their own quirks and personalities, making them endearing and unforgettable to audiences of all ages. And I loved back then as a kid, like I talked about before, the Wild Thornberrys just taught you about a whole bunch of things, and the show was just very educational, especially if you wanted to learn more about the world or whatever place the Wild Thornberrys was visiting. They always made sure to teach you everything whenever they were traveling around the world, and it's very nice to get that sort of insight as you're watching this show. Because the Wild Thornberrys was not just entertaining, but also highly educational, and the show seamlessly integrated lessons about animal behavior, conservation efforts, and the importance of protecting natural habitats into its storylines, and episodes addressing issues like deforestation and endangered species raised awareness about environmental issues, teaching viewers the consequences of human actions on nature and fostering a sense of responsibility towards the environment. And I'm pretty sure one of the things that parents love the most, besides the show keeping their child entertained, is also a show that teaches their kids as well. And when it came to a show like the Wild Thornberrys, did that exact thing, and I really do appreciate that. So maybe in the future, whenever I have kids, I can definitely have them sit down and watch the Wild Thornberrys, because it taught me a lot growing up, and I definitely would love them to sit down and watch the show as well, so they can learn a lot about the world too. And another special thing when it comes to the memorable characters throughout the show as well is also the family dynamics that we learn as we're watching the Wild Thornberrys as well, so we can get a better understanding of the character and learn who they are throughout the series as we're watching all of these episodes of the Wild Thornberrys. The dynamic between the Thornberry family members added depth and relatability to the show, from Moran's practical support and Nigel's eccentric passion for wildlife to Debbie's teenage angst and Donnie's wild antics, contributed to a well-rounded and engaging family unit. And the show expertly balanced humor with heartfelt moments, making it enjoyable for both children and adults. Episodes like Nigel Knows Best combined comedic elements with touching family dynamics, highlighting the importance of patience, understanding, and the strength of family bonds. And I also want to give a shout out as well when it comes to the animation style for the Wild Thornberrys as well, because whenever we're watching these different kinds of cartoons, there's always a certain art style that sets this cartoon apart from the other ones as well. And I also want to give some credit to the voice acting that was put into these characters, because if it wasn't for these voice actors and actresses giving life to these characters, we wouldn't be talking about these characters now, because they definitely put a lot of love into them. Because the distinctive animation style of the Wild Thornberrys, created by Klasky Sapo, with its exaggerated character designs and vibrant colors, contributed to the show's unique identity. The talented voice cast brought the characters to life, with Tim Curry's performance as Nigel Thornberry being particularly notable, within his distinctive voice and quirky mannerism added charm and humor to the character, making Nigel a fan favorite and adding depth to the storytelling. And that's why I mentioned before earlier in this video that Nigel Thornberry till this day is a huge meme, and a lot of people love this character. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many memes I see with this character, like I spoke before. I mean, he's even a fighter in Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. So that goes to show you right there that they didn't even want to choose Eliza, who is the main character of the Wild Thornberrys, to be a fighter in that game. They wanted Nigel Thornberry. So thank you, Tim Curry, for giving so much life to Nigel Thornberry, because I absolutely love Nigel. I think he's absolutely hilarious. And I'm just glad that this character is still talked about till this day. I mean, Nigel Thornberry, he's everywhere. Like, everywhere you go online, you're gonna see this guy. And the last thing I do want to talk about is the life lessons that the Wild Thornberrys taught us growing up, because as a kid, we're not gonna really look at a lot of these things, because we're just watching this show as a kid just to pass some time and just to have something on the television to entertain us throughout the day. So we're not going to really focus on the life lessons of the show. And also when it comes to the music as well, you know, that's also another standout as well, because when it comes to a lot of these cartoons that we grew up watching as kids, or even if you're watching this cartoon now, the music definitely adds a lot of flair to the show, making it very special. So whenever you hear a soundtrack on the show, you're going to be like, okay, that's from the Wild Thornberrys. Because the show imparted valuable life lessons through its narratives, such as empathy, understanding, and the importance of family and friendship, simplifies the show's ability to teach meaningful lessons while also being entertaining. And the show's music, including its catchy theme song and background scores, played a crucial role in setting the tone for each episode, and the adventurous tunes and atmospheric sounds enhanced the storytelling, creating an immersive experience that complemented the visual and narrative elements. So the Wild Thornberrys has left a lasting impact on those who grew up watching the show. When it comes to its blend of adventure, education, humor, and heart, created a show that resonated with viewers of all ages. And the show's unique premise, diverse settings, memorable characters, and valuable life lessons continue to be celebrated, ensuring that the Wild Thornberrys remains a cherished part of many childhoods. Its ability to entertain while educating, all within the framework of a loving and adventurous family, is what makes the Wild Thornberrys a timeless classic. So other than that, that's honestly all I have to say when it comes to the Wild Thornberrys. Like, I had a lot of fun watching this show as a kid. I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to watch this show growing up, because it definitely gave me a lot of memorable moments that I can recall when I was watching this show for the very first time, and just spending a lot of this time with this show growing up as a kid, tuning in to watch it whenever an episode was out on Nickelodeon, because I just found this show to be very fun. So if there's any of you guys out there that want to share your own memorable moments with me when it comes to the Wild Thornberrys, or if you guys have anything in particular that you guys want to say about the Wild Thornberrys as a whole, be sure to let me know, as always, in the comment section down below, because I would absolutely love to hear all of your thoughts on this. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Facebook page. All of that is located in the description below. And also be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I upload a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.